Hi, I'm Feroz Khan, and welcome to Drag and Drop Low Code Unplugged, the podcast where we explore the game changing impact of low code in software development. Join me in insightful conversations with IT leaders and passionate low code enthusiasts who are at the forefront of this digital evolution. Together, we'll explore how early adoption of low code is giving businesses a competitive edge on a global scale. We'll discuss its impact on software development, dissect its role in transforming businesses, and uncover the ways in which it's reshaping career trajectories. So whether you're a seasoned IT professional or a curious enthusiast, be sure to tune in as we share success stories and unravel the mysteries of low code. Subscribe now and stay tuned for a front row seat to the revolution that's shaping the future of technology. So let's go. Hi Pramod, how are you?
Hey Feroz, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for being a guest on the podcast. We've known each other for a long, long time. So it's good to finally have you here.
Yeah, pleasure is all mine. And believe me, I was waiting for this day. Whenever I used to saw the podcasts for other people, I thought, why Feroz is not calling me?
Well, we're here now, finally, which is
Yeah.
great.
All right, finally it's happening. So I'm really happy for that. And thanks,
Yeah,
Feroz, for inviting me to this podcast. And I'm sure that I'll try my best to educate or give a message to the community, and it will really, be helpful for a lot of people who are listening to this podcast.
amazing. Just it'd be good to start with, obviously you're an OutSystems MVP, so a lot of people know you, especially within India. But it'd be good to know a bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, a bit about your personal background.
All right. So, as you know, I'm from India, and within India, I belong to the central part of the India. And the city nowadays, it's a very famous city. It's Bhopal, and Bhopal is initially, I mean, or still historically, it has been known for the lakes. So we have around 17 different small and big lakes in Bhopal. The city is famous, and it's called the City of Lakes. But nowadays, when it comes to the low code world, it has been known as a city wherein we have a lot of outsourced professionals, especially
Yeah.
the low code side. And I'm sure that you must be hearing this since a long
Yes.
time, right?
Yeah.
And so I belong to this city. I'm a computer, I did masters in computers. And after that, I started my career as a techie. From the family side, I have wonderful wife and then two daughters, 14 and 7. And I enjoyed spending time with them, especially when it comes to the younger one, my younger
Mhm.
daughter. She's a kind of pretty much attached to me, and I love to spend time and talk to her. And nowadays, since I'm doing nothing, I mean officially, so I'm
Yeah.
spending a lot of time with them. Apart from them, Feroz, when it comes to my hobby, uh, I love to write poetries, and I
Oh, very
really love,
nice.
yeah, I
Cool.
write really good poetries. Of course, those mostly in Hindi and Urdu,
Yeah,
not in
yeah,
English.
yeah, yeah,
You can call them Sairi, probably you understand this,
yeah.
right?
Yes, I do.
So I
Yeah.
love to write in my, free time. And then I love to, like any other Indian, I love to play cricket. So these are kind
Yeah.
of,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
the hobbies that I have.
Yeah. That's cool. And I'd like to kind of, obviously, I think in India, tech is massive, right? It's
Yeah.
huge. A lot of people go into tech, and but I'm keen to know kind of what was your motivation and driver, and what drove you in the kind of direction of studying in tech rather than something else.
Yeah, and this is really, really, I think, very interesting question. And Firoz, when I talk to, see, being into IT for almost 2 decades, there are a lot of people, they reach out to me for my advice whether they need to start their career in IT or
Mm,
not. So the first question that I ask them is that ask yourself whether you are a person who understand the logic, right?
mm,
Because IT starts from the logic, right? So if I mean, my simple question to them is, if you understand the logic, right, you can definitely get into the tech field. But if you don't understand it, there's no reason that you should do which you are not made for, right? So there are other options. For example, um, like I said, I've been into a lot of college institutions wherein the students come and ask me, PJ, I want to start, getting into IT, but I don't understand logic. I'm afraid of coding. Then the
Mm.
very simple question that I ask them: are you good in finding mistakes in others? Yes. I said, then why don't you join? Start your career as in QA.
Yeah.
Then some people, they understand business very well. They understand the workflows. They understand how a system is running, right? So they have an opportunity to get into the business analyst side of it, right? So when it comes to IT, I see that being a QA, being a techie, hardcore developer, or a business analyst, I think it's just different parts of the entire, IT
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong that if you are not a techie or a hardcore developer, you can definitely be a QA or a BA or engagement manager who is still helping the IT ecosystem to
Yeah.
grow and deliver more and more applications. So my you asked me like how I get into this, how I,
Yeah.
I, I thought that I am a techie. So uh, from you know, I would say my childhood, I'm very curious about things. I'm very curious about logics, right? Why 2 into 2 is 4? Why not six?
Yeah.
Why not
Yeah.
five?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you have this kind of mindset, you definitely want to make something which excites you, right? So when after my graduation, when I need to choose like whether I want to go and do my masters in computers or not, I first did a bit of inquiry about what these software programmers does, what the hell they do. I mean, exactly.
Yeah.
I heard a lot, and um, you might know, like 20 years back, software developers or programmers or software engineers were treated very nicely. I know
Yeah. Yeah.
now we have a lot of them, but 20 years back, it was like rare people and extraordinary people, they get into software development or in IT, they wear ties and all those
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that was different, and everyone gets attracted to it. So I get to some of my connects and I ask them, what are you guys doing? And I still remember that there was a guy who was an MCSE engineer, and he told me he was writing some code, and then he said that look, this is what we do. I said, but what we see is different. What the hell this is
Yeah.
there in the system? So he said, no, this is the logic which runs your application or something that you are using, or XYZ customers is using. So then I understand that it's all about logic, right? Software writing or software development is nothing but it's just but all about logic, understanding someone's need and putting them in terms of logic algorithms, and then someone can use it. And since my inclination was always towards understanding, towards logic, towards uh, solving complex algorithms, so I thought that that's the right way or right path for me to go on. And then that's where I decided to get into the software engineering world.
So when you started working, what kind of technology did you start working with?
Yeah. Again, so I started my career as a hardcore .NET programmer, and I think the ratio was like 60-40 at that time when I started.
Yeah.
60% probably going into .NET, 40% into Java. I think
Mm.
this is what the major technologies at that time when it comes
Yeah.
to iCode, right? So I started going with .NET, and at that time ASPX, which is
Yeah.
ASP.NET, was something that recently was launched. And see, I did a bit in classic ASP. So when I jumped from classic ASP to ASPX, I was like very excited. Hey guys, that we
Yeah.
have an editor. So no more notepad code, right? We have got a beautiful editor wherein we can drag and drop controls and write codes and everything. So I started being from the .NET side. The good thing is, even while I was working on .NET technology, I never restrict myself just to .NET, right? So as I grow in my technical experience, and one important thing, Firoz, and that is something I always quote, that I always tell that a techie or a technical person should be um, technologically neutral. When I say neutral, so what happened to me is I was happily working on .NET side, writing code, and I get into Windows applications, Windows services, ASP.NET, and that time they have the web services, right? WCF was there, so I almost touched, all the varieties of
Yeah.
.NET stuff, right? But then suddenly, one day I got to know that, there's one legacy system. It was an old traditional system. Some of my team members used to scrap data from it, and they there was some security patch due to which they would not be able to do that. And then I got an opportunity that, okay, PJ, can you write something? Can you build a my macro or something which can scrap the data from this system, because this is security and all those things. So, and that was in R&R script. So I said, okay, why not? And I started learning R&R script. I read it for probably 4 5 hours, and then I said, okay, I can do it. Because how I learned that script, I didn't think about it that this is something new. I thought only the the standard of writing or probably the notation is going to change, but everything else, like what I want to do, is going to be remain as is.
Yeah.
So that approach of mine, being technologically neutral, helps me a lot to jump into other technology. So I learned R&R. I write a code in 2 3 days. I mean the entire macro, and then they run it, and it's worked for next 6 months or a year, right? So this is how. And then later on I get an opportunity to work on Oracle NetSuite, which is again an Oracle ERP. So
Mm.
I not only learn the technology within a big time, but I built a team of around 10 different developers coming along with me, and I started serving the customers very next week. So I think it's all about your approach. If you have an approach of understanding the basics of technology, for you working on different technology doesn't,
Yeah.
I think it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and like you said, you kind of touched all the different kind of hard traditional code. So, where did kind of low code come from, fit into, and kind of
uh,
obviously being someone who was so involved in traditional and kind of working with various technologies, where did it come from, and what was your initial kind of reaction to low code? Because obviously, a lot of traditional developers can be skeptical in the beginning.
yeah,
So, what was your approach?
exactly. So Firoz, this is really interesting. So what happened is, one fine day, my EVP, he used to work out of Austin. So he attended a OutSystems conference. I guess he went to Lisbon, and
Yep.
I'm talking about 12 years back, right?
Yeah.
Long back. So
Long time ago. Yeah.
yeah, long time ago. So he went there and he came back and he said, "Guys, I heard about a low-code platform, and it's not exactly at that time they were not calling it low-code; they called it
RAD. Yeah. Rapid application.
rapid
Yeah.
development, right?" So he set up a meeting and he told me that, PJ, I've been to a conference wherein I heard about this tool. Why don't you give it a shot, try to learn it and see whether it is going to help you or not, or whether this can be a tool that is something that we can start offering to our customers, right? As a
Mm.
rapid application development tool.
Mm.
So I never said no to any technology. And again, this was for me, this was not a replacement for me of
Yeah.
.NET to low code, because like I said, I always think technology is one, right? The basics are going to be same. It's just a
Mm.
matter of how you're going to use it, it is going to change,
Yeah.
right? So I spent a big time, and to be very honest, I liked it. Why? Because I just not, like I said, I just not looked at from a perspective of replacement of in technology, but during the application development that I used to, do
Mm.
prior to I started learning out systems, I just try to connect few things like, okay, guys, I'm not sure whether you heard about it. No? There's a DLL or library called Log4net, right? So Log4net is a library, and this is a very, very simple example, and I'm sure that a lot of technical people will understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So there's a DLL called Log4net, and then for Java as well, they have Log4j version of it. What it does is, so it helps the developer to write logs, or if there is any error, right? So you use this DLL, and then you, if you have an error, you catch it, and they say log.error, and then you uh, write the stack, error stack and error message, right? This is a very simple example that people, when they need to see the logs in their application, they have to bring in this DLL, or probably they have to create some function which they need to probably open a notepad log, and then they have to read or write operation, perform the read or write operation to log the errors or message or general
Yeah.
thing that they wanted to mention, even while debugging, right? So when I was started looking into OutSystems, and I saw that OutSystems is not just a development tool, but it's more than that, right? It's more than that. The example that I gave you, which connects me with Service Center, right? Think about it. I don't need to do anything for writing a log. So at that point of time, Feroz, I never tried to look at the big things, right? I was just
Yeah.
thinking about what are the small things that I as a programmer don't need to do. So I don't need to do the loggings. Now, the second important things, which is deployment. So every time, think about it, when you need to deploy a release from one environment to another environment, right? What you need to do is you need to make a build, you need to put it into the FTP server. Then from the server, you need to connect the FTP server, you need to copy it. Then you need to turn off the IAS, right, to deploy this release, and then turn on. There was a downtime. While using, again, at that time there was no lifetime, so the release deployment used to be done by Service Center itself, right?
Yeah.
So Service Centers, you just click, upload, and deploy. That's it.
Yeah.
No human intervention. And then on top of it, the scaffolding features, wherein for simple listing screens or editing screens, you don't need to do anything, right? And on top of it, I still remember when I was initially, 1 or 2 years experience in .NET. Uh, Whenever I need to even have an additional feed in my database, I need to back to my database, guy, and say, guy, please increase this field. And why do you need this field? I say, guy, this is there because I need to store this data, and this is the
Yeah.
reference. I have to give a lot of explanation. But without systems, even when you are not a database expert, right, you can create your own entities, you can create your own database relationship, tables, connections, everything. So if you look at these small things, and if you count the time that it's reducing in development, it's huge. So it attracts me. Those are the features that attracts me, and I thought that it's going to be right fit if I choose it as a technology that I want to offer to my customers.
Yeah. And obviously, that was at your time at Netlink, I'm assuming, and they're Bhopal-based business.
Yeah.
And if you look at that, obviously, 12 years ago, and you look at now, how many OutSystem developers are within that business? It was definitely a right choice, right?
Yeah, and again, I was coming there. So Firoz, and that time the biggest challenge, I convinced myself, okay, that this is the technology that I'm going to work, and I'm okay with it. But then I got an opportunity to start leading the entire OutSystem system.
Yeah.
So the first, my first responsibility was to get in the people from different technologies who are
Yeah.
working
Yeah. Yeah.
and to say them that, guys, we need to work on this technology. I did selected around 10 different developers from different teams, two from Java, four from .NET, one from UX UI side. So I built a team, and then I started training them. And as soon as they spent some time, and they said, hey, I don't want to work in this technology, low code, just drag and drop. If I continue working on this one, I forgot my legacy
Yeah.
technology, high code stuff. And this was the biggest struggle, Feroz, that I faced. But I think I was fortunate enough that I was able to convince them, like the funda that I always have, that technology is same, right? Let it be .NET or Java or OutSystems or probably Mendix or Appian or any other technology, right? It just, as the things are evolving, the more and more flexibility and features are being offered in a way that can help you building your application faster. So few people at that time left the organization just because they
Oh,
don't want to
wow.
work on its
Yeah.
own. But I was lucky that I, even after that, I built a big organization. I mean, OutSystems COE there. And when I left the company, there were around 250 plus
Wow.
OutSystems
Yeah.
certified developer. So I think sometimes I think myself as a pioneer of OutSystems
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
started this. So uh, and 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 now what is happening, Feroz, is a lot of people of that time, they are now the expert about systems. They
Yeah.
spread it across the globe, and
Yeah.
the thing is, they still count me in the regards. They talk to me whenever they have some issues or problems, or they
Mm.
need some expert advice. So I'm pretty happy that I actually contributed a bit in OutSystems
Yeah.
growth in
Yeah.
India.
Yeah. It's nice that you were able to do it in your hometown as well. Kind of. There's one thing promoting it in Bangalore or big tech kind of
Yeah,
city, but then it's another thing building that community in your kind of a
yeah.
town that's close to your heart, right? Because you're from there.
Exactly. And see, this not only, so sometimes you need to be a igniter, right? So what I did 12 years back, I think now this generation, after a decade, is getting a lot of values out of it.
Yeah.
Because now in Bhopal, if you see, there are 20 different OutSystems companies,
Yeah.
right?
There's a lot.
So we
Yeah.
are creating more jobs. We are getting more
Yeah.
awareness from the technology perspective. The city, of course, it start getting some tractions. People from Bangalore,
Mm.
Pune, Mumbai, they want to come to
Yeah.
Bhopal, and because it's a peaceful city.
Yeah.
Tier 2, tier 3 cities are easy to live, right? You can save
Mm.
a lot of money being in
Yeah.
these sort of cities. So I feel really happy about this, and a lot of people actually, always. I mean, when I talk to people, they give credit to me about starting this, and now
Yeah. Yeah.
making it as an ecosystem of low
Yeah.
code.
Yeah, and was there anybody that you said there was a few people who were like, oh no, I don't want to do this. Was there anybody that complained but stuck to it and is still kind of within the ecosystem?
So I see there were, it's not just one, but there are a lot of people. So initially they refused to come to OutSystems.
Yeah,
But after probably a year or so, when we started developing application, and I started growing the team, they actually reaching out to me saying, hey guys, I want to learn. Why do you want to learn? Right? So
yeah,
yeah, there were cases. There were a lot of people who complained about it, but then later on they reach out to me, and
mm,
they started with it, and now they are. I think they are at a position wherein if they continue to work in their high code, they might be very successful, but not up to the level
yeah,
where they are currently. Right?
yeah.
So yes, there were people.
That's amazing. Yeah. And for someone, you did obviously, I think your mentality of obviously it doesn't matter which technology you use helps you greatly, right? But
Yeah,
what was the kind of, that everyone talks about low code and the main thing is obviously speed, right? Compared to traditional, how quick you can turn things
yeah,
around compared to traditional. How was that, for you, kind of, how was that experience of someone who's been doing, you obviously been delivering projects in .NET and then you started delivering with OutSystems. I'm assuming someone like yourself with that experience, especially when you're speaking to a customer, you can present, you can speak about the other one in depth because you've worked in it. So there's a lot more trust with what you're saying
yeah,
with OutSystems because they know you've worn the other shoe.
yeah. So Feroz, see, first thing, like I said, whenever I talk to customer about our systems, and there are a lot of people who reached out to me asking, hey PJ, we are trying to adopt our systems. What do you think, whether we should go for it or not? Whether it is a fit for the enterprise or not? Whether it can solve this specific problem or not? And I still remember I was there in Denver, and there was a guy who actually connected me through LinkedIn, and fortunately, he actually recognized me in OutSystems Next Step in Denver. I think it
Yeah.
was 2018 or 2017 or 19 probably.
Mm.
So he recognized me and they said, PJ, I was talking to you on LinkedIn. Uh, I was planning to, buy OutSystems license, but there are still a lot of questions
Mm.
whether OutSystems can solve those or not. So I told him that, listen, if you're thinking OutSystems just as a replacement of technology, I don't think you are going into the right direction, right?
Mm.
With OutSystems, what I think, it is not just about replacing a technology, but it is basically empowering your business, your organization to bring in more and more innovations. It is it is about empowering uh, your go-to-market strategy. It is all about empowering yourself to deliver or reduce the app backlog that you have in legacy,
Yeah.
right? So, see, my uh, thought about OutSystems was always very clear. First thing, uh, like you talked about speed, of
Yeah.
course. When you have, and I give you a lot of examples of small things, right? When you have a lot of things bundled with just one platform, which is OutSystems or low code probably,
Mm.
right? When you have these many things together bundled, solving your problem, I think you will get the necessary speeds automatically. Now, I'll give you an example. So it is again during the time, it was like after 2 years when I fully get into OutSystems,
Yeah.
right? We were estimating a project, and there was a project that a customer uh, decided to rebuild it into MBC, .NET MBC, right? So again, I used to work in MBC, so I understand it. And then I, with the other members, we were estimating the projects, and it was a huge B2B application, huge multi-tenant application. So we estimated that application for around 22 months.
Mm.
It was that huge because
Yeah.
they want to roll out to in 11 different countries. It was a multi-tenant application. The business segregations was there. Then there were rule engines, there were workflows, and tons of different things, reporting, right? So integration. There were a lot of things that was there in place, right? So we estimated it in MBC for 22 months, and then I again talked to my EVP and said, guys, why don't we give it a shot to estimate it in OutSystems, like how fast
Yeah.
we can do it, right? And then probably we'll bring it to the customer and show him that this is what, if you're gonna go with MBC, this is gonna be your time. If you're going with OutSystems, this is going to be your time. So we actually did the estimations of that application using OutSystems, and we estimated it being a bit conservative. We estimated it for 11 months, so
Wow.
22 months, which is like 50% of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So, and that was the time wherein I was talking about OutSystems 7 and 8, right?
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
like the OutSystems, uh, brought in a lot of innovations till then and now, right? So
Yeah.
now things are different. We have lots of accelerators and integrators, a lot of components are available, but that time it was not that huge, right?
Mm.
So we estimated for 11 months, and finally we have presented the data to the customer, and I was very fortunate, Feroz, that we got a good to go signal from the customer.
Nice.
Customer bought the OutSystems license. However, uh, like I said, it was OutSystems 7 and 8. So it was
Yeah.
7 and then we promoted to 8. So it didn't complete it in 11 months, but we were able to complete it between 13 to
Yeah.
14 months. And
Yeah.
we delivered it to the production. It went live. A lot of customers started liking it. And the most important thing that customer realized, that if the application is a is the application is having a nature of changes, right? There
Yeah.
are changes, very frequent changes you need to have in applications, right? So OutSystems, being a low code platform, you know what to change, how to change. It's a visual,
Yeah.
platform. So OutSystems helps a customer a lot to make such changes and promoting them to, production environment same day. So this is where I think I was liking it, but then when I delivered this application, I was a die-hard fan of OutSystems, that we can deliver any kind of applications, because the complexity of the application was not only from the business side. I mean, there was a complex logic. There
Yeah.
were workflows. So we did a bit of BPT as well. Then there was a heavy data processing. So we used timers. The UX part was there. So it was really easy for us to build UX screens and everything. So not only me, but the entire team enjoyed it a lot. We delivered it on time. Customer was happy, and I'm happy to tell you that that application is still, customers
Oh
are
wow.
still using that application. So and what I realized at that time, Firoz, and this is one of the very important thing, whenever I used to stuck with something in OutSystems, right? The good thing, the recipe I understand when I was, learning OutSystems. One thing I understand very nicely, that OutSystems is built on .NET. So
Yeah.
whenever I stuck somewhere, I always say, if it has a solution in .NET, it has a solution in OutSystems. If
Yeah.
something can be done in .NET, I can definitely do it in OutSystems. So I never um, think about the problem from OutSystems perspective, that this isn't a specific OutSystems problem. I always try to think about it, that this is a problem that any technology can solve, and if any technology can solve it, OutSystems can also solve it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
helps me solving almost all the problems that I faced during, that entire
Yeah.
development.
That's amazing. And you spoke about, obviously that project in OutSystems version 7 and 8, we're now at 11 and ODC, and kind of over your 12 years, there's been so many upgrades, so many, innovative things that have come to the platform. Can you tell me, one or two or even three releases that you think have been really kind of, groundbreaking for the platform, which you've thought, wow, this is going to take us to the next level when we approach customers?
Yeah. So one important thing, and I'm sure that you must have heard about, um, until version 9 or probably 10, OutSystems, while when it comes to building mobile application, they used to have the OutSystems now, right?
Yeah.
There was an application which was kind of a container to build the to run the mobile application, right? And it was very difficult to convince customer and say why this is running inside OutSystems now, right? Because there's a possibility that the customer wants to have 10 different applications,
Yeah.
the use cases are different, the business lines are different, right? So I see at that time there was a little, from the, I would say, from the full stack side, or from a
Yeah.
complete development platform side, people used to say that, hey, but you cannot build native applications. There's wrapper which runs your OutSystems, mobile applications and all of those things. So this bringing in the native mobile application building capability, I think that was one of the biggest feature that OutSystems brought in, and it helps bringing in a lot of enterprise customers as well, because nowadays, Firoz, if you see, it's all about mobile first approach, right?
Yeah. It
Even when
is.
I'm thinking about building a website, I'll first think about having a mobile application,
Yeah.
right? So that was a breakthrough, I would say. So that now we can say, okay, we can build the web application and we can build the mobile side as well, let it be Android or iOS, right? So that was one thing. And then there were one major, I would say, not issue, but people were talking about, the single page applications, right? And the IT trend, it's like goes up and downs, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
and I guess 2 3 years, or most probably 4 5 years back, the single page application started coming into the train, right? And uh, the technology, like if you see Angular, React, all those technologies are
Yeah.
popping up and they started gaining a lot of attention, right?
Yeah.
So uh, then the bringing in this, reactive web application was again one of the breakthrough for them. So that now we have still have the traditional development if you want to go 100% on the ASP.NET side, the .NET based application, but now you can build the async applications, right? Wherein you can have multiple threads of your data actions or
Yeah.
your aggregates which runs parallelly, and then you can see the significant performance improvement in your overall page load life cycle, right? So these two, but not limited to these two. I mean, there are a lot of other things. If you talk about the AI enabled development, wherein you've been advised from the platform itself to fix warnings, or if you are doing something wrong, you've been guided by this AI based enabled development. And then the architecture dashboard, which is now AI mentor
Yeah.
studio, right? This is also one of the, I would say, great innovation of OutSystems. And why? People can still adopt OutSystems even without having the AI mentor studio. But what benefit it is bringing? I've been working with a lot of VFSI and NBFC customers, which
Yeah.
basically in the financial banking domains, and the compliances, the security, the architecture is the primary concern for them, right? Now, sometimes what happens, Firoz, is you build something over a period of time for 6 months, and then once you deploy it to the production, you get to know that, oh, you have a lot of vulnerabilities introduced in your system, or probably this is not a best fit in the architecture that is supposed to be there in place. There are technical depths which has been introduced, during the
Yeah.
time of development of the application, right? So AI Mentor Studio, if you are using it wisely, if someone from your organization are keeping a close eye on it, you can not only control your vendor, to whom, I mean, you have given the responsibility to deliver your OutSystems based application, but at the same time, you can also, if you have an in-house team, you can also track the team whether how robust your application is going to be, how many technical depths you have, what is the architectures, loopholes that you have in the system, whether there's a possibility that you can face some performance problems or not, right? So I think I always like the innovation that OutSystems is bringing in every day. When I say every day, with every releases,
Yeah.
and that is, I think um, that is the way to be there in the market when you have a lot of competitors around,
Yeah.
to stay ahead. And I think that is the reason which is making OutSystems constantly the number one low code platforms
Yeah.
in different categories.
And you're an MVP, so obviously they take factor in your feedback and suggestions. But is there something that the platform today does not offer that you've suggested or would like to see in the future?
I definitely, and I, this is a recorded session, but I still tell you. I think I have given, not only me but a lot of other MVPs have given a lot of feedbacks, and this is really a great thing that OutSystems listen to the MVPs. They give importance to our feedback, and after having a lot of discussions, and if they think that this is something which they need to bring in, they do it, right? So from the feature perspective, Roj, I would say uh, still there's one feature that I'm still missing, which is basically the branching, right? Because I face this problem from a small to mid customers, that's okay. But when you work with an enterprise grade customer where you
Mm,
have a lot of applications, a big tech portfolio, I think branching is must to have,
yeah.
need that we need to have in place. Because you think about the model wherein 10 different teams are working together on 10 different applications, but since those applications belongs to the same organization, of course, there's a connect, of these applications somewhere from each other, right? And there's some kind of dependencies as well, right? So in such scenarios wherein sometimes you are being dependent on the X team when the Z team wants to promote something to the production, right? You may have some, you know, breaks in your code just because of the other one has not completed something, right? So I think the branching it's a kind of a very useful feature that is still not there. With Neo, they try to solve
Yeah.
it at a level with versioning. But I would say that it's not exactly the branching, but of
Yeah.
course, partially it is being solved from the versioning that they have in OutSystems Neo now. ODC.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, ODC. Yeah, and with and you're someone who's gone through it yourself 12 years ago, and probably still now and then, about skeptics of low code still today. What would be your message to people who are still skeptical? Low code is now well known. OutSystems is well known. Majority of the people now know about low code, but there's still a lot of skeptical people. What would be your message to those people?
I would simply say that 5 years back it was good to have, now it is must to have, right? So think about it. Low code, see, it's not your choice now. And Firoz, this everyone has to understand. You have to upgrade yourself, right? And technology is something, of course, you can learn 10 different technologies, but you are supposed to work on the technology which your customer wants, right? Which the technology which is being adopted by a lot of people, a lot of customers, the technology that the customer is asking your organization to work for, right?
Yeah.
So low code, I would say low code is not just about the technology, Firoz. Low code is something that is going to be the future of development, right? And you have to ask yourself, you really want to work in something, or you really want to work with a technology wherein you're talking about delivering an application after 9 months, right? And you don't know what will be the outcome, or you want to deliver something every week to your customer and you see what you delivered, right? So this is very important for everyone to understand that sometimes it's our choice, sometimes it's the choice that has been already made by our customers, right? So low code, working in low code is exactly like this. If you don't start looking into low code or working with low code, I think you will be outdated, right? Then people will ask you whether you know low code or not. Any of the low code, I will not say just OutSystems, but any of the low code, right? And if you see, everyone, let it be AWS, they have their own low code.
Yeah.
Microsoft, they have their own low code. Why are they building low codes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Microsoft being in the high code company, I mean, from .NET perspective, C# perspective, right? Why they are bringing in Power Apps? Why they are bringing in the Power Apps or Power Builders or a lot of
Yeah.
Power things, right? So this is not now our choice. This is our customer's choice. They don't want to wait for something to be delivered in years or months. They want
Yeah.
to do something yesterday, not tomorrow, right? So I would simply, my message to them is that it's not just about replacing a technology, but it's, like I said initially, it's from the two different perspective. If I see, for my customers, it's all about empowering the business to be more innovative, to focus on more on business rather focusing on technology, because OutSystems will take care of it or low code will take care of it. Second important thing is that, and this is I forgot to talk about it, Feroz. Last 2 years or 3 years, I've been working with some customers wherein I've seen the applications which are 20-year olds.
Wow.
Think about it, 20 years old application, and even now they are afraid to touch those applications, right? So there's a lot of technical depth, and they don't take decision to build them, because again, we are talking about, if we again choose something like high code side of it, We are talking
Yeah.
about years to develop those applications, right? So it's not now years, it's not months, it's weeks, right? And low code platforms, they actually gives you that flexibility to build application faster and faster, right? And to the developers, to the people who are still skeptical about starting their career to low code side, I would simply say, and I've seen a lot of people who are working with high code, they end up being a developer or a tech lead, just limited to that technology. But if you work in a low code, you actually participate in the entire life cycle. So you are no longer dependent on a DevOps person to deploy a release, right? You understand how it deploys, right? You can manage the operations, right, using the service center or the other tools that you have, right? So if you work with low code platforms, I think you understand a bigger umbrella of the entire software development life cycle rather just being stick to writing codes. So I would say it's not now good to have, it's must to have, and it's your decision now to
Yeah, exactly.
go for it. Yeah.
Amazing. And over the years, obviously, you worked for Netlink and Do It Lean. After that, you've now decided to go solo and independent. Kind of, what was your motivation or decision around that?
Yeah, I think I've enjoyed working with all my past organizations. They were really being great. I've got a lot of learning, especially, Netlink. I learned a lot of techie part, right? With Do It Lean, I learned a lot of things about the management, how you
Yeah,
manage the delivery, how you manage the customers, and there's a lot of learning. The guys are amazing, right? So I've enjoyed that part of my life. Now being independent, I still want to be into this low code ecosystem,
yeah.
and you'll be happy to hear that I've already started learning the Power Apps. So I was just
Okay,
trying
cool.
to
Yeah,
understand what it is and how it can help the
yeah,
customer, right? So my focus is still to help the customers, the startups, the other people who are still adopting a new low code platform, or especially OutSystems.
sure.
I can always be the mentor, the advisor,
Mm,
or like always, I really want to be an advocate of low code platform. And if I can be any help in digital transformation for any of my customer, or the any of the partner or vendor, or any
yeah,
of the person who's working on software industry, I think I'll feel really happy about it. So I'll continue doing spreading low code word, OutSystems word, and so far I think I've built a huge community here in India. I'll continue doing that, especially to the new generation. Like I said, I've been to a lot of institutions. I teach them, I taught them, I give speeches about low code or the
yeah,
trending technologies. So I will keep on doing this and try to bring more and more people to this community. And especially, I mean, like you said, Bhopal being my hometown, it's not only helping these people to learn this technology, or being the first to understand what's going on into the low code market, but it's really good for the city that
yeah,
I've been brought up, so that there are more opportunities are coming for the young engineers, and they don't need to go out from Mobile to get their job
yeah,
to bigger cities. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'll keep and continue.
It must be quite, fulfilling, for you. Obviously, you've been doing it for 12 years and you started when there was not really no one working without systems. And now, I see the events that happen in Bhopal and the amount of people that turn up,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the developers that turn up. And, for you, it must be quite, um, a nice feeling to know that you were one of those early adopters.
Exactly. And this is sometimes it's the satisfaction, right?
Yeah.
When you see that, you know, there's a huge community, the people, and now, after 12 years, now if I see that there are college graduates who are passing out from the college, and then they pinged me on, LinkedIn,
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
"Hey, PJ, we want to learn out systems. We know that you being a, great
Yeah.
motivator of this." And I really feel proud that, okay,
Yeah.
somehow I being there kind of is a hope to them that there's someone
Yeah.
who can, guide
Yeah.
them, who can motivate
Yeah.
them, who can show them the path. So I really, feel proud about it. And this is something, very satisfactory to me. It's
Mm.
not about money. It's not about having a big title in a big
Yeah.
organization. But
Yeah.
this is kind of a very self satisfaction that you receive when you
Yeah.
help someone to grow or build their career in a different,
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to speak to me. It was really, really good to talk to you and hear your very interesting journey with low code.
Yeah.
And I obviously, you're starting a new challenge of going solo. So I wish you all the best with that as well. And I'm sure we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, thanks, Feroz. And as I said, pleasure is all mine. I'm always up there whenever you think that there's something that you need to talk to me about. I'm all there. I love to spread out systems work. I love to help people, and especially when it comes to growing the community. I will always be available. And once again, thank you very much for inviting me to this podcast. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thanks, Pramod. Take
Thanks.
care.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode, which is brought to you by ITRAC. We are a leading staffing firm that solely specializes in supplying both contract and permanent low-code professionals to organizations globally. Navigating the niche landscape of the low-code market requires the best talent, and we recognize its critical importance for our clients. Whether you're a company looking to strengthen your team, an individual seeking the next career move, or someone entirely new to the world of low-code, we're here for you. Our extensive experience and in-depth market knowledge enables us to quickly pinpoint the ideal candidates while offering expert advice and support at every stage of your low-code journey. Reach out to us through our website or connect with me directly on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to assist you. Thank you once again for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another insightful episode. Until then, take care.